altcoin, bomb.
We are hearing from clients around the world.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
Crypto, depending on how you think about it, and I believe crypto will play that type of role as a.
Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, bomb.
We are hearing from clients.
We got some great charts to break down today. Signals of, is this bounce going to actually continue to the upside, or is this just a bit of a bull trap? We're going to be breaking this down in just a moment. Everybody throw a 1 in chat if you're ready to get into these charts. Let's break down what is going on. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. We got to talk about the market. Things are moving up and down and all around. Let's go ahead and refresh this page, see what's going on in the last hour. And this is just on our watch list. We got Stoblocks up. XRP just started making a bit of a move, but it's still down over the last week, down to almost 3%. Stacks has been making a move over the last 24 hours. We see this finally getting some notable movement to the upside. We also see OPSEC is up, Aerodrome, Chlor.ai, Ondo. Now, this is obviously organized in the last hour. We see Ordiswap. Ords is, still chopping in this range over the last 7 days. It's making a little bit of a move down after it did move up a little bit in this pump over the last 24 hours. Say also had this move up and came right back down. We're seeing this sitting a little bit sideways. Powell AI also down. We got a lot of things. Everybody's, the market's looking at these charts, especially Bitcoin, and we see this broadening wedge. We came right back up to the top of this level. We're going to talk about this. We got a lot of signals we got to cover. We're going to be breaking it down here. T-Bait says XRP is moving. Well, we'll look at XRP as well, but I want everybody in here right now. Ask yourself what you're grateful for. Why are you in this market? What do you really want to do with it? If you understand your why, you're going to have a much better chance navigating rough times, hard times, and also gives you a better strategy to know what you should be doing in any given moment. What's your time horizon on every coin you have in your portfolio? Do you have different portfolios? You need to ask yourself these things on a regular basis, because when we're looking at these charts and we see Bitcoin in this broadening wedge to the downside, yes, ultimately bullish, but we got some very key levels that we're going to have to talk about that's going to signal to us what's going on, because we have a very bullish stance right now in the chart that could be brewing. We also have a potentially very bearish setup that is underway. So we need to be adaptable and make sure that we can ride this regardless of what direction the market decides to move. Now I see Alexander G, shout out to my girl there, Sack Nasty 86, Kevin Blandon. We got a lot of just homies in the chat here. Red Elephant. I don't see Crimson Caravan, but I'm sure he'll be in here. Good to see you all. It's good to be here with you guys on a daily basis, but we got to talk about some things. We're going to talk about what's going on. What's going on with ApeCoin, Michael Burke says. We can look at ApeCoin. We'll look at that here in a little bit. Now, let's go through some of these stories. And by the way, before we get started, if you would show a little bit of love, I would appreciate it. Helps keep our lights on. Hit that like button, subscribe, and join us here in the family. Ding the bell so you know when we're going live. And let's go ahead and dive into what we want to talk about today. Now, if you haven't yet, make sure you're following me here at Kelly Kellum, Keloy, Kellam. And then, of course, BitLab Academy at Academy BitLab. Now, were there signals that we could potentially have had this pullback? Beyond all, the 47, 80, 100, 3 million different things we can look at different metrics and different types of data that sometimes we're going to see in hindsight. But when you see a big enough signal in hindsight, maybe you will look to this signal in the future so you can forecast things. And we can see right here, crypto quant Bitcoin bull market cycle indicator. This was showing that we were getting into some overheated zones once we already right here crossing above 60,000 into 62. I'm looking at the measurements right here on the right, the price, and it started getting very overheated once we passed that $65,000 mark. This area right here is that area, that price level in which we were breaking beyond previous all-time highs. Remember, we had sort of a double top last cycle, probably also influenced a little bit by inflation, and we had a $64-something thousand top and then a $69,000 top. So this region is very heavily defended by also cynics in the market. So when we zoom out on the chart, these are those two tops we're talking about. Regionally, it's nearly the same exact level. When we come right here and we drag this across over into where we're at right here. Let's kind of make this up just a little bit tighter. We can see this is that level that we're looking at on that on-chain chart right here. When we started passing through 65, this whole area here, we're going through a very thought to be very heavily contested zone. And that is this zone right here where it's showing things are getting a little bit overheated once we came up into this level. And remember, we also had those bearish divergences on the technical indicators like the RSI, momentum, money flow, and all these things, signaling that as price was pushing higher, we were having some weakness come in to the underlying data suggesting how strong people believe this was still going higher. This is why we want to look at price as a data metric and compare that to the underlying signals like the RSI or the BitLab trading stack data, all the different things that can show us the truth of the buying power that's in agreement with price going higher or not. So that being said, shout out, there's our boy Crimson Caravan Company. How you doing, my friend? So this was letting us know, in addition to the other technical indicators, that, you know, things were getting a little overheated here. And as we have talked about before, we want to see this rise, retrace, or consolidation, continuation, retrace, continuation, retrace, continuation. What's next up? Retrace. The question is going to be, how deep does this retrace go? Have we gotten to the point that we needed to? Die Rich Entertainment says the shorts are piling up above the 72K. If them just get liquidated, the candles will be bananas. That's right. If we come over here to high block, we can actually see that. Let me go ahead and refresh this page. We can get this fresh, get you guys a fresh data, baby. So this is on the 7-day. We can see, look at this right here. Remember yesterday, it was very, very dark up here in the 75K range. Why would this change? Because over time, remember, leverage costs money. When you are doing derivatives, you're doing, you know, even if it's 3x, 5x, 100x, doesn't matter what x you're doing, you are borrowing money from that institution. So in that borrowing of money, so say you put up 1,000, you're trading 10x, so you're trading 10,000. You're borrowing $9,000 from the exchange. This is why there's liquidations in the chart, because it narrows the amount of price activity that can happen in a price range before that your margin that's holding that leverage trade gets closed to fulfill basically your burden on that, right? So the exchanges are in burden. But in addition to that, it costs these exchanges, when you take a leverage position, if everybody's going short, then it becomes more and more expensive to go short. It's a funding fee. That's what the funding fee is. And so as time has progressed and we see the price action has had some interaction to the downside, we also see that some of this very bright colors up here, expected where liquidations would be, has now started to shift very heavily. It's getting much brighter directly above where we're at here. Excuse me, here in the $69,000 to $70,000 range. In some ways, this is very good. This means we have a magnet of liquidity, a pool of liquidity in the market closer to the price action that to where we're at now versus where we were at yesterday when the majority of liquidations were $10,000 above us. This suggests that price action may be trying to work up, may get sucked into this essentially potentially free money to those market makers if they can get price action up in here and clear out these liquidity zones. Now, is it going to move that direction? We don't know yet. We're going to have to see. We're going to break that down in the charts here in just a moment. Let's zoom in here on the 12-hour, and then we can zoom in on the chart just like this. And we can see, as it stands right now, where is the closest liquidity pool? And I don't mean liquidity pool like staking and total value action. I'm talking about orders in the order books where there's liquidity that can be taken if the markets get pushed that direction. The closest zone is directly below us, actually, right here at this $66,000 mark. Let's remember that number, $66,000. This is where it's showing that there's going to be some liquidations, free liquidity available if the market makers can trick you into being emotional, trigger you to basically sell and get the price action to come down in here, clear this free liquidity, because if they come down and clear that free liquidity, it frees up that region, and then price action may start moving to the upside. So let's remember that number, 66,000, and then up here at 67, 68,000 is the two liquidity zones that we're going to be looking at when we're doing our technical analysis on the chart here in a moment. Because remember, we don't just want to draw a line on a chart, pretend we are Bob Ross, put a happy little fib right here, and then hope things work out. We want to find confirmations. We want to see a confluence of different types of data that suggest that really, in multiple different ways, highlight an area as an attractive level or a likely level for price to move to. So we see this was overheated. Price actions pull back. The question again is this going to fulfill the move that they're trying to move to the downside here? Is the market satisfied? And is this going to start moving back up? Well, let's go through a couple more data points. Well, who's buying right now? Look at what I wrote right here. I said whales buy whales as people who don't understand how to become a whale sell, AKA all of us that are poor, all of us who like, we always look up at the millionaires and the billionaires. How do they do it? Because they're not jackasses with their emotion. Let me say that again. I know it's harsh. How come these whales have so much more money than we do? Because when we look at charts like this, what do whales do? While everybody else is selling, whales are buying, everybody else is selling. And in the same moment, these people that are frustrated, they look up to somebody that has so much more money. They look at institutions that are so much better with generating profits over time. And we see they're buying when people are scared. And who are they buying from? All those people that are scared. So it makes you realize that there must be a mechanism here, AKA our emotions, that they're able to trigger to get what they want out of this market. So the question is, are you donating your money to the whales, or are you swimming alongside these whales, sharks, and participating in that type of behavior so you can build up your Bitcoin and crypto portfolio, buying in the fear, not selling, and not buying in the hope? No, you sell in the hope, you buy in the fear. That's what we're about here. Making this money together. Follow if you want to know more, if you want to stay on top of these trends and stay in profit, because that's what this is about. That's why I'm here. I want a lot more money so I can help a lot more people. That's what this is about. So coming back over to this chart, who's buying, who's selling? We see this 0 to 1, 1 to 10, 10 to 100, 100 plus Bitcoin. Everybody's been selling. This is where most of the selling pressure has been coming from. Some people want to say it's the ETF. Some people want to say it's FUD around Ethereum. Some people want... Let's just look at the behavior of the players in the market. This is why I love on-chain data, because I can see what type of behavior different types of market participants are doing. When I see every retail person buying, I say, hey, I'm setting my strategy to start harvesting some profits, because if they're buying, who the hell are they buying from? If retail is buying, they're buying from whales and long-term holders that have held from much lower, that are starting to de-risk their position. The more de-risking big players do in this market, AKA the more reduction in supply big players and long-term holder players are doing, what are they doing? They're selling to people that are buying hype, meaning by nature of buying hype, you're an emotional trader. Therefore, you're making the market structure weaker. That's when you start getting market cycle tops. So seeing this, okay, we got a little bit of the inverse of that. Everybody's selling. Whales have just been steady buying. Now, we did see yesterday a little bit of a shift here. This is over the last 90 days. We did see yesterday a little bit of a shift here. 0 to 1, the hyper retail, super duper retail, so, selling for sure. But we did get those people with 1 Bitcoin or more. And it's going to be interesting as this shifts over time, when the value of Bitcoin goes up dramatically in US dollar values. Because remember, 1 Bitcoin is always 1 Bitcoin. But 1 Bitcoin now versus what it was 4 years ago, $5,000, whatever. Now it's, 50,000 plus. So we've had a 10x in value in US dollar valuation. These numbers are going to have different meanings for the different type of market participants as this market matures. So as it stands right now, 1 to 10 and 10 to 100, they were buying, while the people that are on the fringes that are just kind of dabbling were selling. Who's buying here? These people, these mid-range folks. So it's important to pay attention to these types of signals. I don't really want to go into the press conference. You guys have seen that on a number of the other channels. What they did was what they said and did was fairly good for equities and stocks and stuff like that. And we still see, if I refresh this page, let me refresh it just for a second. Let me just refresh this for 1 second right here. There we go. We see the S&P 500 still pushing up. We're getting a divergence here, but generally we're still seeing the uptrend in risk assets, which does suggest that this is more of a sell-off right now, unless we start seeing a sell-off in S&P 500 when we're talking about this correlation. So things are good on the back burner and the underlying sort of fire for Bitcoin. And in this sort of event right now where we're getting a little bit of a sell-off and we can't tell if it's a fake out or if it's going to break further down, but we're going to get into that. So we're talking about the whale, now right here with Willy Woo. What happened to my Willy Woo? Willy Woo. Let me just zoom down to it. I don't know why that just swapped out. There we go, right here. So this is interesting. Bitcoin up or down? Everyone forgetting those sideways consolidation periods Bitcoin has had in the past. We've had multi-month sideways periods. Now these sideways periods aren't going to feel like sideways periods, I think, so naturally like they have in the past when we were ranging in $100 to $200 region, much like we saw in this region right here. This was a $7,000 trading range that was sideways. This was actually sideways, even though it's higher lows, higher low. And this was basically through this entire range. This was $7,000 up, down. Similarly, we could get something like that in this range here. And when we look at this, good news, bad news, time for Bitcoin fundamental models, the bad, the SOPR, the spent output profit ratio. What's the ratio of people in profit, people in loss? Has peaked at a very high level. See how high this is? This is the same level it was when we were back here at $40,000. Boom. We still had another impulse to the upside, and we rounded out here. So if people were basically taking profits at this level, but then there's, remember, this reflexivity in the cycle where if a lot of people are making money. We're at price levels that we've never been before, which is what this is. This is the break of the previous all-time high at $19,000. This is exuberance. This is when there's de-risking, AKA those wallets of very long-term holders or very smart traders in the market are basically taking profits here. How do we know that? Because they're taking profits as we can see it on on-chain data that the reserve risk where you can, and also the R-HODL metric, you can see an oscillation between the balance of long-term holders versus short-term holders. When you see this spiking with the majority of short-term holders coming in, that means long-term held coins have transferred hands to a short-term holder. Short-term held coins bring weakness to the market. When you have a disproportionate number of holders in the market, where long-term holders are selling to short-term holders, AKA new participants in the market, or even just traders, this brings weakness to the market. We see this exuberance up. And people are still hanging on to this hope. And because there's no large buying any longer, and because there's people more focused, and it starts cascading into this profit-taking mentality, you get weakness at a level, and the price action sells down. Some people want to say this is specifically because of the Chinese mining ban. Well, how do you define all this roundingness before that happened? This was that moment right here with the Chinese mining ban, and the market dipped. But we were already having weakness come into this. How do we know? Large impulse. Much smaller impulse, now smaller impulse still, and it's starting to lean over, giving us this rounding top. So there is weakness in the on-chain data, as well as the bearish divergences we had at these levels, as well as the composition of the type of holders in the market. There are signals that scream to you what is likely coming. So we have to pay attention right now. As much as we're so excited that Bitcoin price is as high as it is, comparatively with where it was in previous cycles, in relationship to where the halving is, on this signal right here, this does suggest that we are a little bit overheated. So he's saying this suggests we may consolidate a little bit. Now, nobody's going to be right. Nobody's going to be wrong. We have to see how this plays out. All we can do is position ourselves to take best advantage of what's going on. So I did have it there. So we see that. A couple more things. Now, actually, I want to come back out of this. I want to come to Joe right here. Joe Carlasari says the Bitcoin spot ETFs do not drive Bitcoin price. These things will also be reflexivity tied into all that. But futures, he says, he postulates, futures and derivatives are far more impactful. This data is clear, and it's not even close. Everyone can stop posting the flows now. Flows, I think, are still going to be very important. We want to pay attention to what the buying pressure and desire is and sentiment in this market from that type of data. But we cannot forget the data that's been here for years, which is this derivative data, this open interest data, the futures data, right? This gives, to give one clear example, Binance's futures data, 24-hour futures trading volume is reportedly to be at 120 billion. That's just Binance. A few $1 billion of ETF flows doesn't materially impact price. And when we see this on this chart, this is a futures open interest. And look at how high this is. We have higher level of open interest here than we did, even at the peak of the last market cycle. So this is inherently bullish, but we still need to, we need to remember to zoom out sometimes and not be so worried about this 15 to 18% pullback that we're in the middle of. Because if we have been preparing and looking at these historical charts over this last, however long you've been involved in the crypto market, we know that there's a regularity of fairly large pullbacks in the bullish trend, especially surrounding when we see the halving approaching, because we have gotten these pullbacks before. So right now is not the worst of the thing. And remember, even with this pullback, the Bitcoin party has just started. Everybody hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and ding the bell if you are involved in this crypto market, because this is an exciting space. And those big green days would not be exciting without the pullbacks that we have along the way. And remember, the pullbacks that we have along the way, let me say this on big screen. Those big green God candles that we get along the way would not be as impactful if we did not have these pullbacks along the way. We need to take advantage of the pullbacks so that we can ride those green God candles absolutely to the promised land of profits. Let's take advantage of these consolidation periods, of these small pullbacks, even large pullbacks, so that we can be as much profit in the best position as possible. And it's all about strategy. I hope you'll follow us for more so we can absolutely ride those so that we can absolutely ride those green God candles with you. Now, with that being said, let's get into the charts because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. The last one I'm going to show you here, and I've shown you this in a different chart on lookintobitcoin.com, free on-chain data site you can utilize. Value days destroyed. If I hand you a Bitcoin, if I send you a Bitcoin and you hold it for 3 days and it's one whole Bitcoin, that's 3 value days. If you hold it for 1,000 days, that's 1,000 value days. So you can see one Bitcoin can be sold and have less than one value day. Another Bitcoin could be held for, 2,000 days. That would be 2,000. It's all about how long the Bitcoin is held. And so what this shows us, this is that relationship we were talking about of profit taking and holding between long-term holders and short-term holders. So much jargon. Who cares about all that, Kelly? At the end of the day, we're looking for large spikes here because this is showing that not only a lot of coins, but a lot of coins that have been held for many days are moving, AKA profit taking. And you see, look, break a previous all-time high. Where does this start spiking? Right here. Because after you break the previous all-time high, this is the strength of a trend. Smart money takes profits into the strength of a trend, ultimately then resulting in a blow off because then you have all short-term holders with no conviction, sell off. Whereas this previous all-time high, boom, right at this mark, this is when this starts to spike, you see? And then at this point, this is ultimately when this is the real signal that maybe some profit, if you haven't yet, needs to start being taken. And the thing that I don't want to say is troubling, but the thing that is illuminating right now is as bullish as we want to be, look at how high this value days destroyed has spiked, AKA some old coins have moved. Some people are taking profits. And we can see that this is, basically right at this level that we've seen previously. Now, did the price still go up? Sure did. But it was also signaling that they were somewhat near the end. Do I think we're near the end of this bull trend? No, I don't. But I do think that we have to do some work. It can't just be up only. Now, is this time different? Maybe. But I'm still going to be paying attention to all the metrics, and we're going to tie these into the charts so that we're prepared regardless of what happens. Now, let's get over here into the charts. And I did break down in the BitLab Discord this morning at 8:30 this morning. Remember, we had this chart that I shared yesterday, and I was talking about several things. And one of the things I said was, I'm not looking for on the small movement that we had. We cannot consider this a reversal a potential reversal until we overtake the weekly VWAP, which is right here in the middle, and this trend signal line. That was at the basically $65,000 mark. When we come back down here to where we are at today, now we've been having some good conversation in here this last few weeks in our Discord. But this is a retort on that. Okay, so that yellow line, this is on the 2 hour instead of the 8 hour like the other one. But that yellow line is essentially going to be roughly the same spot. We overtook it. We overtook that $65,000 level. Now, what that means now is, remember that VWAP, that weekly volume weighted average price. It's a great metric. Big money uses, smart money uses, professional traders use, and it's a good indication to you, regardless of where you're at on that spectrum, of are we in a bullish position to start playing bullish moves, or are we in a bearish? And sometimes you'll see a price action cross the line. That's not the signal. It's the crossing of the line, and then if it comes back to test it and it holds, that's the signal. So what we're seeing here is we have this $65,000 mark right here. It's moved down a little bit, but 64.9, so still $65,000. That was our barrier to give us a potential signal for some bullishness. Shout out to Falco gifting 5 memberships in here. I love it when you guys share in the love and share the memberships with other people in here, giving everybody those BitLab beakers. Some of you have been some BitLab members for some time, and you can see Falco's name. He's got the BitLab beaker, and it's almost full. It's because he's been here. He's been a member since, I think, right when we launched the membership. So shout out BitLab. Shout out to Falco. We also see Crimson Caravan got a full beaker. Alexander G, we got some with the, your beaker will fill up over time. And then after several months, then it actually changes colors and stuff too. And we got some great emojis in there too. Drop some emojis in there. If you're a bull, or if you're buying the dip, drop those emojis. If you're just a crazy chicken right now, you don't know what to do, drop the rubber chicken in there. But the point is, 65,000 was the area we're looking at overtaking. Now, that 65K mark is now effectively important support for us to maintain bullish footing in this bounce. A drawdown to there, which I hope we actually get. We need that in some ways. A drawdown back to that 65K level. Some people are mad right now. It was just at 67, 68. Now we're back in the 66s. But if you have the map, if you're looking at the charts, then you know that that test of that 65 to 66K region is going to be a confirmation, if we hold it and start moving back up, that the bulls have taken back over control. A drawdown to there and subsequent move back up would effectively form an inverted head and shoulders as well. Our immediate resistance overhead is 68 to 69K region. This marks the current range highs that we were just at, 68, and the golden pocket. Remember, we just had the all-time high, $74,000. If you take that all the way down to the 60,500, that dip we had, the golden pocket is there at that $69,000 level. So we have a box marked out on the chart. That is, I didn't share the right. Did I not share? Yeah. But yeah, it's $69,000. So let's go ahead and look at that on the chart. And that is this zone, 2 hours, boom, right here. So if we zoom out on this just a little bit, we take a Fibonacci right here. I'm putting my mouse right where the all-time high was, Option F. If you're on PC, it's Alt F. I'm all about the quick keys. And you can see, if we zoom in on here, can I see it the golden pocket is right here. See 618.65? This is right at that 68.8 to 69.2 level. So we have this previous sort of range-ish high that we just kind of tested right here. 68 is what we're ultimately first looking to break if we're expecting more bullish behavior. But it's not just that. We could very well get a wick under there and trap people and then move back down. If this does move back up into the zone, two things happen. One, we have an inverted head and shoulders, which is signaling the bears tried, bulls brought it back up. The bears tried much more strongly, bulls brought it back up. The bears get weak, try again. That's an inverted head and shoulders. And then you take the measurement of this neckline of where this resistance level is, you measure that, and that is how I got this. Oops. That's how I got. That is how, there we go. That is how I got that green bar. This green bar right here isn't just an arbitrary bar. This is a measurement. You see? It's a measurement to the deepest part of this head all the way up to the neckline. And this measurement, I move one more damn thing. There we go. There we go. Takes us right into this box. Now, this is precarious because this target suggests that if we do rotate back out of this, break out of this neckline, $68,000, $69,000 region, that the target is $76,000. Well, there's two things we have to remember here. Not only do we have the golden pocket directly above this zone right here, we also have this previous range high, and we also have what numbers were we just talking about on this price action when we were looking at the liquidation levels. $66,000, which is the area that we kind of just tested into. And then that next level up, remember that the potential gateway to the getting up to that target, previous all-time high and beyond, is right here in the starts at the $68,000 region. So we can see the liquidation levels as well as the levels on this chart are lining up for giving us a somewhat complete picture. Now, there's a couple things we have to realize here. We want this to be bullish. We have to acknowledge that. Unless you're just actively shorting everything, people want this to be bullish. So we have to acknowledge that maybe we want to see inverted head and shoulders play out, and we're jumping at the opportunity to find a long any chance we can get, and we keep getting liquidated. What's going wrong? Every time I buy, it goes down because we have a bias. So what's the opportunity on the flip side? If this does come up in here, we do have to realize high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. So we are in a downtrend, of course. Now, one could argue that this is starting to round out a bit, and it's all going to depend on where this finds support. So what does that take? It takes patience. The number one killer, let me say it, the number one killer in this market, and the number one reason people don't make money, the number one reason people lose money in this market is that they're not patient. The number two part of that, which supports number one, is having a strategy, having a plan, and letting the market come to you, letting a move break out of a certain area and confirm it by coming back and testing that level and trading that confirmation, not the immediate breakout. Patience or lack of patience is the number one killer in this market. And the reason why so many people lose money in this market, because we're trying to catch up to somebody else. Let the market catch up to your strategy, and then you're going to be making so much more money in this market on a consistent basis. I hope you follow us for more so you can ride this train with us. Now, what is this level? Weekly VWAP right here, yellow line. It's below us now. Great. We do see that the 20 moving average has crossed above this trend signal line. Trend signal line is green. And look at this. The trend signal line, which is this green line right here, is perfectly in line with right where not only the VWAP is, but we also have an order block here on the BitLab volume. See this green block right here? We have an order block that is basically these two moving averages, the weekly VWAP and the trend signal line, are sitting right on top of this order block. This is telling me that there's multiple different levels on this chart that are saying, hey, man, you're going to want to watch this area right here. They're all saying, hey, look at this. So if we zoom in on this, we're looking here at the 2-hour chart. If we're looking at this, then we're really wanting, if the price action does come down, we really want, for multiple reasons, as a bull, for price action to at maximum wick down below this. But even on like a 2-hour basis, we'd like to see the candles close at or above this zone. This would be two things. This would confirm, if this does close here and starts moving back up, this would confirm a very strong sort of inverted head and shoulders. But if we come down here and lose this, come back up, use this now, flip this weekly VWAP back to resistance, then this was a bull trap, and this is likely going to come back and at minimum test this $61,000 level. So this is what we got to pay attention to. It's frustrating, right? You're supposed to tell me if is it going to go up or down? What is it going to do? All we can do is look at the chart and say, where do the probabilities lie? And when we look at this, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's go on the 8-hour chart. And by the way, at 3 p.m. today, if you're a BitLab member, by the way, you can head over to lab.bitlabacademy.com and sign up for a free trial. You can get in. There's a member stream today. Sign up, free trial for signals. I'll just do free trial. I'm posting it in the live chat. It's lab.bitlabacademy.com/Josh. And you can get in at 3 p.m. today. There is an event, 3 p.m. Eastern time, mindset and tactics. And then tomorrow, Josh and I at 3:30 p.m. And this time might change. I think it's going to be 3:30 p.m. We're doing market updates and some really good alpha on next trend to catch some waves. This is for the BitLab premium members here in the Discord. So head over to lab.bitlabacademy.com /Josh, sign up. And that's also, if you do that, you get locked in at the low, after the trial ends, 30 days, you get locked in at the lowest price we've done. And also you get access to the indicators and courses at the lowest price we've ever done as well. So it's up to you to choose if you want to upgrade that order. That's not a free trial. That's immediate. But the market, if we come out here to the daily, double click, let's look at some things. We still have this area marked out, $55,000. This is a short-term holder cost basis. We've talked about it a lot. If you're new here, it's kind of like, I look at it similarly to like how we're looking at the VWAP. If we're playing a positive spread or negative spread, same thing on the macro when we're looking at the short-term holder cost basis. Where are you at? Dashboard. Dashboard. Click everything 7 times for it to work. There we go. This level right here, 54.3, we've seen in previous cycles, turn off everything, 200 days, turn on that, turn off this, realized price. We see when we are in a bull trend, we come back to the short-term holder cost basis regularly through the entire bull trend. When we're in a bear trend, when we lose it, resistance, resistance, resistance. So playing a positive spread, playing a negative spread. Over here, playing a positive spread, scary deviation here. So we may get another deviation, but either way, generally what we see is price action come back and test this level. So we still have plenty of room to the downside to still remain perfectly as bullish as we've had in every bear cycle. So if this does fail, like we were talking about the possibility, then we still have this barrier down here that we can look to. If we get down to the 4-hour chart, we can see that the money flow, this is a little ominous for the bearish, bullish narrative. The money flow is arcing like this, potentially trying to come down here and break this zero line. And looks like we kind of have, but it's not making too much movement, which is why it's gray. But bearish, 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 bearish here on the BitLab trend dashboard here on the BitLab Trend Fuel, part of the BitLab trading stack. We have bearish divergence here. We have this, the RSI is not trying to make new highs. The VWAP is angled to the downside. A lot of bearish signals on this 4-hour time frame and the money flow. But what we'd like to see is for the money flow to come down like this and reset and start moving back up. We're going to have to see how that plays out because the momentum has been trending to the downside. And it not only downside, but expanding. These getting larger means there's larger bearish impulses to the downside. So considering that, yes, maybe we've bottomed, but we need to let this little Quasimodo arm fix itself. You know, maybe it's growing a new limb. Maybe it's not going to have an arm and this is going to break down, but we have to let this play out and see if this does lose this weekly VWAP. That would be a signal, at least if you're a scalper on a short term, that you could potentially play a trade below this, back down to this level, take some profits here, leave some on the table, and potentially ride this further down. I'm not doing shorts right now. I'm only looking for longs. I'm looking for opportunities. So if this does come down into here, I'll let the market, in essence, short itself, and I'd be looking to start DCAing in, especially down here at this level, here at the 58 to 57, and I'd be, the rest of my dry powder, or the majority of it, I should say, I shouldn't say the rest, I'd be really trying to pick up near the short-term holder cost basis. Because as it stands right now, we've only had a 17% dip. We could finally get that big dip coming, but we need to see how this arm plays out. When we look at Ethereum, Ethereum looks very similar here. Above the weekly VWAP. We're on the 4-hour. Above the weekly VWAP, above the trend signal line, but this is not flash green yet. And in addition to this, if we come here and we do option F, on PC, it's Alt F. Golden Pocket is right here at the lower side range of where these lows were bouncing and all this price interactivity over here. We already had a box drawn. So we're looking at a potential, if this does kind of arc around, maybe we get inverted head and shoulders, excuse me, as well. But the target is here, basically 36.9, 3,690, 3,700, this sort of range, potential fake out at the zone. So once we clear this zone, then we can look to, more bullishness to potentially retest these all-time highs and go beyond. But we also have on the 4-hour negative money flow. See this? And we had some buying pressure in here, which is why this is green. But this is negative money flow. Stochastics are rolling over. RSI is looking like it's trying to decide what it wants to do. The strength, the underlying decision maker of what happens in markets, the strength underlying the trend is looking like it's trying to figure out what if this is going to move up or down. So we have to be a little patient here. If we do come back down and we cannot hold 3370, which is basically where this weekly VWAP is, and look at this point of control right here as well, this teal line that's coming out of the volume profile here. This means the most volume of Ethereum was traded on this view, at least, at the 3366, 3370 mark, which is right where the weekly VWAP is. If we lose this, I expect we will at minimum test back down here in the 3150, 3140. And if we lose that, then we could be in for a bit more of a test, a bit lower down here into the testing below 3,000. Ultimately, remember, institutions are involved now. Remember, institutions are involved right now. So they're really starting to get not only interested, but they're putting their money into these markets. We're seeing it with the ETF flows. We also have the fair value accounting change with crypto and Bitcoin. And so there's a lot of institutions and big players and the awareness globally of this big money, institutions and individuals getting involved. And so when institutions and big money players miss the boat, they don't miss the boat. They bring the boat back. Right now, what I think is happening is regular in any bullish trend, which is a rise, retrace, continuation. That retrace is where most people with poor strategy lose their money. And that's where the whales, that's where the institutions, that's where the big money players make the billions in the long run because they're able to buy the blood. And they can also instigate people selling into the blood, triggering those emotions. So that, I think, is what's most likely happening right now. I'm not scared if Bitcoin drops to 55,000. I'm not scared if Ethereum drops to 3,100 or below 2,800. I truly believe this is the opportunity institutions are creating and market makers are creating for themselves to have larger gains in the long run. If you can hold on or identify where you can DCA into these dip points, you're only going to be benefiting in the long run in your portfolio. So if you like that, follow for more because I want to ride this green dragon all the way to the promised land with you. And I hope to see you here in the BitLab. Now, if you haven't figured it out, I'm only one man and I can only do so many things at one time. So I cut shorts right in the middle of these videos. That's why you hear some of the stuff over and over, because I want to be in that Discord. I want to do those member streams. I want to share charts with you guys, but we also got to put out content so we can keep our bills paid, right? And do things. So momentum wave is trying to make a move up, but I just want to point out, if we really zoom in on this, what do we see? We see this increase. It's like this, and then it's starting to like this. This is trying to make the decision right now of if they want to play the negative spread, aka go more bearish, or if the bulls are going to come in a big way and take this back to the upside. Avalanche still within this channel. Now over here, you see this? This is hugging the upper side of the channel. Very quick test to the downside. Very quick test to the downside. Maybe a quick test, but no, it looks like now it's hugging the lower side of this trend. There's a possibility here that we do test back down into this 47 to $48 region. And if we lose that, then we'll likely coming down here into the lower 40s, and potentially even beyond that if we get a deeper correction in the market. But same thing, what are we seeing? We're seeing a negative spread. This is playing the downside under this. Look at this, tested the VWAP back down. Now we're holding this here. We want to see what happens. As it stands right now, the money flow was very positive. We could tell with this blue wave, it's coming down dramatically. And look at this, starting to flip a little bit into the into the red. RSI, look at this, butting its head around this 50% sort of zone right here. Got rejected. It's trying to, everything right now is trying to decide what direction to go. Regardless of what direction it goes, I'm waiting for a move down, retest, continuation, or a move up, retest, continuation. We can also see this on Sol. Now we have the lower low. What did we talk about yesterday? If we get the pump, let's watch for this, not only breaking the VWAP, do we have a lower high? Because we have a lower low followed by a lower high. Is this setting up for a potential further move to the downside down here into the 150s? I'd like to get my hands on some Solana down in the 150s. If we're able to hold this zone and push back up, we still need to Solana's been running. There's been a lot of attention on it, but it's been the benefit of not only a lot of attention, but it's essentially been, tackling back and forth. Come over here, battling for the number 4 position on the coin market cap rankings. These keep flip-flopping back and forth. I mean, you see how close they are. 82.6 billion, 83.9, and these just keep flipping back and forth. Remember, BNB, it's incredible. Solana is even up here contending with BNB in that BNB is part of the world's largest, exponentially more trading volume than any other exchange out there. And they have their own coin as well, BNB. It's incredible. Solana has made the strides to be so far up here. Now, when we come back over here, we can also see Link. I think Link is going to be an absolute sleeper that once it starts popping, because it bores the hell out of people. And when it moves, it will absolutely move. But my question right now, before we do any more TA, is one, if you are in crypto, if you're green on any of your crypto assets, if you've learned anything here ever, if you're even just watching, I'd appreciate it. It really would if you just hit that like button. Let's get those likes up. It lets YouTube know you like this crypto content, and look down below this video. If it doesn't say subscribed, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe. Let's get those counts up. I'd love to build this community with you. None of you all are followers. We are all in this community together. This is the positive space on the crypto interwebs, where we really try to share tools, resources, strategies. I want to let you know how I lost $70,000 in 2 trades like an idiot, so that you don't ever do those types of things. I want to show you how I actually made money in this market, where I messed up, what I learned. Also, we share so many different, not only TA and strategies, but resources, positivity, empowerment, and gratitude. That's what this is about. Now, thank you for hitting that like button. Let's go ahead and do a couple more coins, and we're going to have to skedaddle here. That looks a little toppy here. Near has been performing incredibly. I mean, since we got into Near, where do we get in at? We got into Near here, right on this dip. Boom. $2.74, roughly. We're all the way up here. Got all the way up into basically $9. Can we be mad that there's a little bit of a pullback? No. In fact, if I think this is going to do well in this bull market, I'm looking for opportunities, hopefully, to buy, as low as 450, maybe even in the lower 5s, because this looks toppy. We have an M pattern right there. Broadly, we have a larger M pattern. Not only that, we have, look at this, lower low followed by lower high. Again, we have a lower low. Is this going to result in another lower high, which would indicate, that sort of Elliott wave, 5-wave correction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would still indicate a lower wave to the downside. But we have to see. The VWAP's way up here. So we have work to do before we can even determine that this is reversing. We're getting the start of it here, because if we're looking at this, let's go on the 1 hour. If we're looking at this on the 1 hour, we can see we have a bit of a W formation right here, a little bit of a bottoming pattern, higher low as well. Now we're starting a bit of an uptrend here with a higher low, higher low, higher low, right? But we have this neckline to sort of contend with here. There's inverted head and shoulders, potentially, they're not there, but they're potentially brewing on a number of assets. Now, this could be a few things. The market, let me say this. The market makers know right now everybody wants to be bullish. It feels so much better when these markets are green. And so we see so many inverted head and shoulders, which are potential bullish reversal signals that things are about to explode higher. But remember, these market makers, these smart money players, understand that the bias, the desire is bullish right now. So these formations, these patterns in these charts could literally be manufactured by the price action that they're driving in this market by triggering your emotions and setting you up for thinking that bullish breakout is going to happen, only to trap you and reverse it back down to give them an even better entry below. I'm not saying that's happening. I'm saying it is a possibility you have to consider. So wait for a confirmed breakout before you just move, because one candle on a 5-minute chart wicks beyond a line. Things are setting up for an incredible 2024 and 2025. Don't mess this opportunity up right now by trying to jump at every single market movement. Let's be cultured in this market. Let's have strategy, and let's take some profits because we were able to by buying at lower prices. Right now, maybe the best opportunity for you is to sit on your hands. Sometimes no trade is the best trade, because we want to absolutely dominate in the 2024-2025 bull run. That's what this is about. And I hope you follow us for more. Absolutely. Because we got a lot of things that are brewing, man. I want NEAR to go so much higher. I think NEAR, also part of that AI play, I think it does have the potential, but we have to watch order block right above our heads as well as the weekly VWAP right here in the $710 to $730 range. After we break beyond this, then we could talk about moving higher. Interestingly, we can see, I can just tell by my eyeballs, we have the order block also front running where this golden pocket is. So even when we clear this, we still have to contend with the $760 to $770 range. And then we're truly on that path for a potential further upside. Stacks has been running. Finally getting that move. You know, it was kind of chopping sideways all the way through here. We got it over here. And this, see, we were up. Oh, we were flat. We were up. Oh, we were down. Oh, we're back to break even. Down, up. Remember, this alt portfolio is stuff that I'm just holding, trying to hold most of it through the majority of 2024 at minimum. I may be making some moves, and I'm letting you all know what I'm doing in the BitLab Discord here in the Kelly Alpha channel right here. I'm sharing exact moves I'm making on different assets, when, where, why, the composition of, you know, what I'm doing. But we see stacks, part of that BRC20 narrative. It's very positive spread, way above. See, this came up, tested the weekly VWAP, pushed up. We are way up here. We're just now flirting with the trend signal line, this moving average. And currently, if this candle were to close as it is, this is currently a bearish engulfing candle, meaning bullish candle. Now the bearish candle is larger than, it completely swallows the candle before it. If this closes like this is signaling likely that the bears are they're attempting to take control. Now, when we see this data, remember price action was pushing up. Look at these lower highs. Some bearish divergence here between these 2 points. So if this does break down, what do we look for? Option F, bottom to top. We see that level is down here, and we have this range top right there. So I'd be looking for a target down here if we have a bearish sort of pullback on the market down in here to basically the $3 region. If we have a fake out, I would see this as a result of coming down to this 382, $3.20, holding here, and then moving back up from there. So those are the two levels I'll be looking at. Great opportunity to ladder entries here and in this zone here. And then maybe one more sort of dream sort of buy down here in the 277 range. There was something else I wanted to show. I don't remember what it was. MATIC. I mean, look at this. M formation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this it? Is this the 5 wave? We get A, B, C. But as it stands right now, we are sitting there. Look at this, perched right above this weekly VWAP, right in here. Trend signal line coming up, trying to cross. I think everybody's waiting on what direction the bulls want to take this. So we got to be patient. Got to let things come to us. I love you all. I appreciate you. Hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. I got some things that I'm working on in the background for everybody. Maybe some private stuff. Maybe some one-on-one stuff. Maybe. But I do want to ask each and every one of you, head over to the BitLab Academy page. I'm going to post a comment link in the live chat. Come over here. I'm going to put out some freebie sort of content and resources for you guys. Come and vote on this. It really would appreciate it because I want to provide the stuff that you guys want. So please go to that link. I just put it in the live chat. It's also on the BitLab Academy Twitter page at Academy BitLab. Come over here. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could come in here and vote on which one of these things you'd like as a free content piece I could send out to you. I really would appreciate it. And again, check out lab.bitlabacademy.com. Take advantage of this 30-day free trial while you can, because this deal's not going to be around forever. We're doing it while we're still under all-time highs. lab.bitlabacademy.com/Josh. The link is, I'm pinning it, lab.bitlabacademy.com/Josh. I'm pinning it in the comment section of the live chat. Get in there. It's a 30-day free trial. You could choose to upgrade to the indicators and stuff if you want. That's up to you. Damn it. Hold on a second. HTTP. You know what? I'll just copy paste. Thank you. This is how we pay our bills too, everybody. We have a community that we provide so much content to. We have other opportunities if you want to get involved with everything we do. There's paid content, there's free content. But remember, you got, spend all day long, every day here with crypto. And I just want to make sure that our community benefits as much as they can out of this market and gets away from stepping in potholes and losing money and all those things that I know a lot of people do early on. Understanding how to identify coins, understanding how to navigate your portfolio. So get involved. I'd love to see you in there. There's a member stream this afternoon, 3 p.m. for those premium Discord members, as well as tomorrow at 3:30. If you sign up, check your inbox, check your spam folder as well. There's 2 very simple steps that if you follow those 2 steps, it automatically adds your roles. If you have any issues, email me at help@bitlabacademy.com. That's all I got. Everybody, I really do love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for letting me share what we're doing here, because this is what this is all about. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I love you, and I'll see you later on. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Hope to see you inside BitLab Academy again. Adios, everybody.